Racial inequality is the unequal distribution of resources, power, and economic opportunities across race in a society. It also manifests itself in many ways that together impact the well-being of people. This includes racial disparity in wealth, education, employment, housing, health, etc. Today, our group will mainly mention about the impact of racial inequality in education.
My nationality is Pakistani.
I am Pakistani. My nationality is Indian.
I'm Kenyan and British.
The top 1 to 5 Hong Kong principal ethnic minorities includes Filipino, Indonesian, others, whites, and Indian accordingly.
But maybe here in Hong Kong, when you go to the market, people perceive that you can't speak Cantonese, which tends to segregate you when you want to buy something. So they kind of ask for the next person in line, so they kind of move you out of the line.
According to the questionnaire, have you ever encountered any difficulties due to your race? All 12 participants, practically 100% of non-local student participants answered yes, meaning that they have encountered some challenges while studying in Hong Kong. In addition, they also mentioned that they suffered from various kinds of difficulties. For example, bullying in education, discrimination, and stereotypes. Specifically in education, among 113 public English secondary schools, only 10 schools whose curriculum allowed them to skip Chinese. They did not provide an alternate language course to Chinese. Not having anyone outside school to help them with Chinese schoolwork led to lack of academic support, thus limiting school choices and opportunities. Such problems cause poor educational provisions and difficulties in learning Chinese. Also, there are some problems upon bullying, discrimination, and stereotypes. Non-local students are facing practice of culture and religion difference. For instance, canteen does not provide suitable food for Muslims, and this can be a discrimination. Also, some create a stereotype upon a skin color, viewing that someone with a particular skin color is dirty and uneducated. In conclusion, it creates a cycle which starts from lack of education support, leading to communication barrier and also not able to integrate, thus causing bullying and stereotypes. Also, according to the questionnaire, how did you feel when you encountered racial discrimination or difficulties? Many non-local students answered that they felt angry, helpless, confused, and left out. 50% of them answered that they felt angry and confused, while other 50% answered that they felt helpless and left out.
I think no, because I'm not able to meet the requirement of the local school because their subjects are all taught and learned in English, in Chinese. So I'm not able to meet the requirement of those maybe Band 1 schools because maybe my Cantonese is not that fluent. So I might need to go to a Band 2 or a Band 3 school.
In addition to what the interviewee has mentioned, according to the questionnaire we sent out, we can compare the questionnaire of local student and non-local student. And the data show that the 40 questionnaire for local students show that 72.5% of local students think that education is fair to everyone. And in this questionnaire, we give them 5 options for which education is fair, including education resource, education policy, education opportunity, teacher attitude, and the support of the school. And more than half of local students choose education opportunity are fair to everyone. On the contrary, according to the questionnaire of non-local students, 83.3% of students choosing that education is not fair to everyone. It can see that non-local students think that education is unfair more than local students. Among the 5 options, non-local students choose educational opportunity and teacher attitude are the most unfair parts of education. Why do they think education opportunity and teacher attitude are the most unfair? In terms of a teacher attitude, because teacher lack a racial or country awareness and they don't know how to communicate with them. In addition, some teachers like local student board, resulting in the unfair treatment of non-local students. Then the questionnaire we collect also show that the number of non-local students studying in public school were more than local students. 83.3% of non-local students were studying in public school, while there are 56.1% of local students studying in primary school. According to the literature, they did not have many chances choose school they like. Although the government has policy to ensure that they can choose school fairly, but the school will consider whether they understand Cantonese or not. As the interviewee say, she did not meet the requirements, so she only can study in Band 2 or Band 3 school. Another reason is that they cannot, according to the cost of international school, especially if there are many brothers and sisters in the house who need to study, so they will choose to go to public school. According to the above questionnaire, local students have more resources than non-local students to a certain extent. So if this racial inequality is maintained, local students will also benefit to a certain extent. And that resource may include Chinese and English translation, document, online resource, and so on. Apart from this level, there are not many stakeholders who like to maintain this situation. For instance, for the government, they want to change this phenomenon. When the government solves this phenomenon, it will reduce prejudice against race and increase the desire of more employer to hire them. And when more employer hire them, it increase future productivity and GDP. In addition, when they stop this phenomenon, according to EOC data, it will also enhance Hong Kong's competitiveness as a business center, as well as international image, showing to the world that Hong Kong is an international city.
I want to change this phenomenon.
Definitely, I would want to change this format of discrimination because I think, well, we have different cultures and traditions, but at the end of the day, we are all human beings, and you know, we have the same blood color, so we bleed the same.
I think the government can help by providing some programs.
They can try to provide some workshops where, like, you know, they can try to encourage each other that like we are living in the same community, but then of course we need to learn different languages, like where we live, so it will be much easier for us to communicate with the non-local, you know, with the locals over here.
It seems that there needs some changes to solve inequalities happen in educational area. Based on the survey results shown in previous pages, it is important to eliminate language barrier at school. So first of all, in order to focus on language barriers, the government is recommended to adopt different languages as many as possible that are commonly used in Hong Kong. For example, according to the data from Population Census Office, it was demonstrated that Filipino and Indonesian are the top two ethnicity in Hong Kong. So the government can provide language program for Filipino and Indonesian in order to eliminate the language barrier. Secondly, the government is suggested to provide subsidy or grant for non-local students. Since the survey conducted explains that 60% of tuition fee for non-local students are paid by their parents, while 30% of them are supported by the government. Hence, it seems that the government financial aids are quite low for non-local students. The government is required to offer scholarship to non-local students in public school, allowing them to receive proper education. Additionally, grants to public schools also work as a way of helping non-local students, as government's grants allow each school to use finance in the area of their requirements. Schools may have greater freedom or chance to provide educational support for non-local students. Lastly, the government can change this phenomenon through funding to non-governmental organization, which is NGO. Again, the survey shows that only 5% of tuition fee for non-local students are paid by NGO, which indicates that there is not enough financial aid from NGOs. Therefore, the government can fund NGOs that can support education for non-local students, such as International Social Service Hong Kong or Vision First, which helps immigrants in Hong Kong.
Here come to the suggestions for school. For joining a 4-week summer bridging program, Hong Kong EDB proposed a 4-week summer bridging program. The target students are Primary 1 to Primary 4 non-local students. For Primary 1 non-local students, the course helped them to develop interest in learning Cantonese and also teach them how to write, listen, and read simple words. Thus, they can communicate with others. For Primary 2 non-local students, teacher will read some books or sing songs with them in order to let them know more sentence structure. Besides, teachers will also teach them how to understand what people are saying and thus can help to enhance their communication skills. For Primary 3 non-local students, teachers will help them to develop a reading habit. Therefore, they can bear the words in mind. And for Primary 4 non-local students, teachers will give them some reading materials and ask them to read the words out. Thus, they can know the meaning of the sentence. School can choose whether they want to join the program or not, but we suggest that the school can choose to join so that they can help the non-local students who study in their school. Besides of joining a 4-week summer bridging program, we also suggest that the school can employ more non-local teachers. By employing more non-local teachers, they can help to communicate with the non-local students so that the non-local students can be more easy to adapt a new environment.
To add on, other organizations such as NGOs or EDB, the Education Bureau, might also change this current phenomenon. First, NGOs who provide free adoption courses to immigrants can increase the total amount of time of free adoption course. In Hong Kong, the 60-hour free program is provided to children between 6 to 15 who have arrived in Hong Kong from the mainland and other countries for less than 1 year. Aided by the subsidy provided from the EDB, increasing the total amount of time can provide more opportunity for children to learn the cultural differences, local community, and complex Chinese characters. While the Education Bureau is continuously aiding the NGOs to provide the education services for immigrant children from mainland China and other countries, in order to successfully increase the duration of the course, ADB should therefore increase the amount of subsidy to NGOs too. This will not only increase the total amount of course time that the children are receiving, but will also increase the interaction between students from diverse cultures. Or ADB can put a price ceiling on the tuition of international schools, as the tuition in international schools are constantly increasing due to the increasing demand from wealthy mainland Chinese. Putting a price ceiling can increase the opportunity for international students to attend international schools and also interact with increased number of local students too.